official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
The Outlaws strike early in this series and kind of leave the Hangzhou Spark a little bit lost for words early on, showing that they can play this kind of damage dealer comp, and sort of harness the chaos or ride the lightning here. But there are more maps to go and more different kinds as well.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking a little bit before this series, when some of the additions for the Outlaws, specifically Dante, were going to pay off. And you saw it there when they were able to run these, damage-dealing heavy compositions where you had all three of your damage dealers, Linkser, Jake, and Dante in the game. They look great there on that control map.
I mean, maybe that's the kind of thing that the Houston Outlaws want to leverage, and there may be no better opportunity to do that than against a team like Hangzhou, which will, probably not throw.
They're willing to scrap with you on
exactly.
Comps, yeah.
And that's what they kind of want. Maybe that's where they get them here. But again, I kind of alluded to it a little bit more. We will see sort of maps throughout this series that don't lend themselves as well, I suppose, to those, DPS heavy strats. What are your thoughts about King's Row and how it affects our lineups here?
Yeah, so King's Row, I think you can run on the offense, though at the beginning for point A, some more DPS heavy stuff. You want a really strong Zarya on King's Row. Even when Zarya hasn't really been like meta and played all the time, King's Row is a map where you see a ton of Reinhardt, ton of Zarya, through the chokes from point A through to point B through the streets phase. I think that's where you're going to see the Outlaws probably make some changes, as we do see Spree comes into the game for Linkser. So Jake stays in. Potentially, you can have Jake run like a damage-dealing hero. You can have Jake play Brigitte.
Normally this is Jake and Linkser being sort of subbed out for each other, right?
Yeah, this is a little bit of a change of game plan here for the Outlaws. And I think they needed something to change things up a little bit after week 1.
So that means that obviously the Brigitte player will be different. Guangzhou comes in for no smite. Again, you're kind of
having the luxury of
it's an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah.
Guangzhou obviously earned great acclaim representing China at the Overwatch World Cup. Is an aggressive player. His primal rage mechanics are filthy.
Insane.
Like if we get a chance, it's a little bit hard to watch a Winston in first person,
but it's
primal rage. If we get to see that, we'll try and show you, because Guangzhou is a very good juggler. You know what I mean? It's like Cirque du Soleil out there. People don't even touch the ground. He's all about it.
His Reinhardt is really strong as well. So I think it's just kind of like you mentioned, an embarrassment of riches here for the Spark. You have two main tanks on this roster who would start on most of the teams in the league. They couldn't be splitting time with another person. It is different though. A lot of teams usually don't rotate main tanks out. It's usually a role that kind of stays because they're so important in terms of calling. But it seems like you want to try and find run for both of these players.
But it is something worth looking at, especially because now obviously Guangzhou, does not speak Korean. As far as we understand, for all we know, the rest of the Hangzhou Spark don't speak Chinese. So there needs to be pretty tight communication and structures put in place even before you get onto the battlefield to make sure that those language barriers can be overcome or at least circumvented to a degree. That's what Hangzhou are probably thinking about here, but Guangzhou is always a treat to watch. I love it whenever he hits the battlefield. So. The Houston Outlaws, they will be on the attack, Matt. Do you see them going for this aggro, this damage dealer setup again?
I mean, no, Jake on the Widowmaker, it's something wouldn't that be a crazy scenario where you sub out Linkster to have Jake play Widowmaker. We've seen crazy stuff, man, but...
it doesn't seem likely.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jake playing the Brigitte here. He was playing a lot of Brig, obviously, last season for the Outlaws.
Yeah, when Spree comes in and Linkster comes out, that kind of tells you they're fully committed to obviously having a full-time Zarya on this map, which is no surprise. I think this is what you're going to expect them, though. Like, their Sombra version of the triple tank, triple support, very strong. I think you leave Jake in here. You know, he can provide a little bit more shot calling, ult man.
Spree getting chunked. Ooh. Sorry to cut you off there. Looked like Houston might have been losing Spree in that case. And again, they are playing 2 tanks and the Sombra. A lot of emphasis being put on Dante, who was very well known for his Sombra prowess last season. Look at this. Rhea gets demeked. It's enough to force Hangzhou off the point. They didn't look comfortable here at all.
No, and they were forced into a really bad position when they lose Bazzi early. Then Gushue gets hacked, so you don't have a Reinhardt shield. They're forced to back up into like that corner by the hotel. They're able to just put down a ton of spam damage on all of the targets in there. That'll be a first point take here for the Outlaws.
Spree with a huge portion of his team's damage in that first fight. Which one do you expect from Sombra? From Zarya in general? But Spree's obviously one of those players we always look forward to seeing.
Spree's an off-tank player, but he's really a Zarya specialist. And it's like, if you can't play a Zarya specialist right now, it's like, well, when would they get play, right? Like, that's why I think in one of their last games, I was surprised to see so much Coolmat. Not that Coolmat's not a fantastic player, it's just you have Spree on this roster who's so sick at it, such an important hero. And then it doesn't really kind of put you out of position because Dante can just run the Sombra and this is what you can roll out with.
Speaking of which, Matt, that EMP is impending. Spree taking a back seat here, and now here comes the push, but Dante goes down to a whip shot early from Bazzi. Earth Shadow used there by Gushue, and that will be as simple as that. The pink parade will pour forth in towards the Outlaw spawn.
And they were probably going to go for some kind of EMP into a Graviton Surge there, but, you know, the whip shot ends up taking Dante out. You have to hold on to some of those ults. And, you know, we didn't get a great view, but you imagine, you know, Gushue lands that shatter, you know, Muma's trying to run in. You lose a few players, even if it's just like a few seconds delay.
So you're definitely looking for that in this fight. Dante getting an EMP before BEBE can use his Transcendency. But Dante just opts for the hack on IDK, who wants to get aggressive here. Here comes the push, Matt, though. You hear that? That's Graviton Surge coming out from Hangzhou. Godspeed locks him up, and that's another fight done.
And Dante's trying to get that hack on IDK because he's playing in the alleyway, just trying to avoid the EMP. So if he can get the hack on him first, Dante doesn't have to worry about him being in line of sight when the EMP goes off. You'll still deny the sound barrier, at least at the beginning. But that should give you enough time to grab, swing a few times with the Reinhardt shield and pick up enough kills.
Even without Dante actually chasing the Lucio kill and finishing it for himself. That's the EMP though. Gushue definitely got hit by that one. 4 players from Hangzhou, but not BEBE. He gets to use the Transcendence in this fight. Now Hangzhou can snap back. Still fairly healthy, but they did lose Bazzi. And it might be struggle town now with BEBE falling to a headshot from Raucous. Gushue charges in as only Gushue can. But it's not enough to get Hangzhou out of the hole. And now the Outlaws can get started on this second phase of the map.
I think the Outlaws there, you know, you usually don't see like a Sombra come up to the cart, not in stealth, and just throw the translocator in and then EMP. Probably just a little bit of like frustration trying to go on these flanks, set up something perfectly coordinated. That was as good as you can get. I know he doesn't connect with the IDK originally with the EMP, but he gets the hack on him during, you know, the Transcendence set is up. This has to be a big shatter here from Gushue to combo with the self-destruct.
Oh, they split Muma off. This could be nasty for the Outlaws, and they lose Boink as a response. Muma's still able to swing in and do a bad thing here, and that's going to necessitate the sound barrier. Earth Shatter laid down. Help of Godspeed, that will do the job. I'm sure maybe investing slightly more than they otherwise would have intended to, but the result is still the same when they have a Graviton into the next fight.
That was a really nice use of the Graviton Surge. We haven't seen a lot of teams do that, where they throw the grab like past the cart, and then the Reinhardt comes up, and Muma really doesn't have a great way to save anybody, because they're so far away from each other that the shield doesn't do anything. He puts the shield up, he's just getting swung on by Gushue. There's really nothing he can do there. Nice use of the self-destruct there. It'll be Godspeed here with the Graviton Surge. They take Dante out. That's going to be a pin from Gushue onto Jake, so the Spark will get another team wipe in their favor.
That hurts the Outlaws quite badly though. Raucous surely was hoping to keep Dante alive specifically, so that an EMP would be forthcoming after the Graviton. It wasn't there, and ultimately that Transcendence from Raucous Gives no value. It's still a lost fight for the Outlaws, and they have been slowed down, brought to a screeching halt now.
And you know, Spree has done a nice job keeping his energy up here, but the 3 deaths really hurt you. Like, Zarya's need to back out. Like, if you can save any energy, it's massive. Godspeed, although they lose some fights here at the Spark, he doesn't lose any like energy because he keeps backing up. Has not died so far. His average energy is sitting at 65%. The only time he's probably low is when they had to back out. Is this is a big EMP from Dante.
Perfect from BEBE, though. Still gets the Transcendence off. Dante probably not getting the impact he would have liked, but it's still a 1-for-1 trade player-wise. Rumor stunned up there. Great timing on the Graviton Surge. It wasn't it. You saw Rhea was looking for it. Godspeed cut down. Dante with 2. And now it's just Rhea. You see right in the back is IDK, but he's in no shape to participate currently. Rhea, just as well that he's healthy, but again, stalling is all he'll really be able to get done until the rest of the Hangzhou Spark return to this fight.
They may get another look at this. IDK could boop somebody back. He's going to get a touch here. So now that'll allow Guangzhou to get onto the card. If you can get Godspeed back, you're going to have all 3 of your tank ultimates here to combo.
Jake has just returned to the fight as well for the Outlaws. He and Boink. And that's the rally. Houston definitely want to get something started up right now. See, Rhea's low. He can't get burst healed currently. Clearly the repair pack not being given to him, or it's on cooldown. Transcendence EMP being thrown in. Sound barrier for both. The self-destruct doesn't affect Outlaws in the way the Spark would have liked it to, and that is going to be a big shatter. Getting Buzzy is probably enough here if Houston can push forward, and they do. BEBE is down. The Zenyatta is missing. Mover looking for a charge. Found Rhea. Stunned out of it immediately. Earthshatter coming out, and despite Mover being stunned, Hangzhou weren't able to get value for it. Now we're into overtime in just a few seconds. Rhea low in the back line. Dante wants to try and chase Rhea down, but he got a quick repair pack. It may not be enough, though. Here's the Graviton, and it will be the Outlaws converging on this team fight, and again to the Foundry.
It's not easy, but they finally do it. They're able to use that Graviton Surge at the end there from Spree to push them over the line. 1 minute and 20 seconds here, though, Mitch. Not a ton of time. You figure you have to use EMP in the next fight. Maybe EMP Shatter. You'd like to hold on a rally, but you have the Transcendence on the other side. You're probably going to get a Sound Barrier. Bazzi switches over to Ana here towards the end. So just you're trying to get some of those antis.
He's thinking about that Transcendence coming from Raucus soon, I'm sure. Hangzhou respecting it greatly. Here comes that Earthshatter EMP to follow up here. Rhea, BEBE, IDK all hacked up. And Outlaws get the result that they were looking for. A little bit further still to push, and BEBE has a Transcendence, but he needs to use it for more than just stalling. But he may not have a chance. Rhea lays it down desperately. Hangzhou try and falls short of the payload. Houston will finish the map.
That Spree really came on towards the end there. They finished that 8 Graviton Surge kills. He's made a big difference here in map number 2 for the Outlaws as they complete the map. See you for Hangzhou's attack after the break.
Seconds in the time bank for the Houston Outlaws after finishing King's Row on the attacking side. Definitely not something to scowl at, perhaps, but it's not a huge buffer, especially with a team like Hangzhou, Matt, which we know brings blistering pace to their pushes.
I think that what I've liked from the Outlaws here today, Mitch, at least thus far, really early in this series, is like they played what they're at. Like they have a strong Sombra player, a strong Zarya player. Put them in the game and try and win it that way. Like, you know, if you can come up, like, sometimes I think teams get too wrapped up and they're trying to play to the meta. And you know, Sombra, triple tank, triple support, well, obviously you take out one of the tanks and Sombra takes the spot. It's still extremely meta, right? And I think you can still win with it. And I think Houston has the players to make a difference with it. As let's see if this is what the Spark roll out with. You know, Godspeed on Pharah. Usually you want the Mercy to combo with Pharah. Maybe just scouting here, trying to put some damage down as, yep, everybody back to the spawn. So, traditional 3 tanks, 3 supports. From the Spark, you have the Moira in play here for Raucus.
Again, let's see if he gets value from it. Rhea will be more than happy to eat up those biotic orbs that would otherwise provide a heck of a lot of healing. Bazzi just gets out with his life there, but Rhea's got a great spot just to range shrapnel down on top of the Outlaws. Muma's taken down, overwhelmed and overrun. And now the rest of the Hangzhou Spark can transition fairly comfortably to the point here. Constant pressure being placed on Spree, making it harder for Spree to stop that damage hitting his backline. Raucus fades onto the point, but it's fade to black for him. And Spree being removed means Hangzhou have that point. This is not a shock to see from this team.
And I think why you see the Moira here, and it was the Outlaws playing really aggressive. That's probably why you want the Moira, just for her healing output at the beginning. If you're going to play that aggressive and you're going to play around the statue and try and push the chokes, you don't want a Zenyatta in that position, extremely vulnerable, doesn't provide enough healing. You need a main support in that type of situation. And that's probably why they go with Moira there at the beginning. But as soon as that fight is lost, Raucus doesn't even want to use the Coalescence. He actually had it, 95%. He would have got it walking back. They'll have to switch to Zen right away.
Hangzhou can do a lot with these ultimates available to them right now. Grab coming up. Rhea can make, Muma turn his shield around with a good self-destruct, and Gushue can take advantage of that. Godsby, look at them just push forward like a phalanx, straight up the guts. And Jake has his spill all over the cobblestone to King's Row. That's just nasty, man. I don't know what to say about that one.
And those are the worst fight losses for the Outlaws, because if you're going to lose a fight, you'd like to see them use a lot of their ultimates. It's just a grab and the speed boost from IDK. You just get right up in their grill. You get Gushue swinging up on a bunch of people. There's nothing they can do. And coming back in this next fight, you're just going to have rally if you're the Outlaws. It's like, do you even invest grab?
Oh, man. Okay. At least Muma manages to get a shield around to protect them from that self-destruct. Transcendence being thrown in. Spree sends his mech up. He might have liked it to stay, actually, under that walkway. It didn't, though. Big O shatter into the back, though. Raucus. Dante all knocked down. A Muma's missing. Jake's gone as well. Hangzhou again break through. The Outlaws offering only a token resistance. Again, the start of the fight, they look good, but then they just look flimsier as the cracks start to show. Hangzhou, 5 minutes, 25 seconds on the clock. I said blisteringly fast, and I wasn't lying.
I mean, you're going to have a grab for this next fight, nothing to combo with it. But, maybe if you use grab and then they use Transcendence and Shatter, you're in a pretty good spot if you're the Spark, right? Because then you figure you're going to come back, with a 2-ult advantage for what could be the final fight in a sick amount of time left.
Just not looking nearly as perky as they did in the previous map. Maybe this is just not where they prefer to be composition-wise, but it's where they must play. On the corner is Muma. He spots Rhea in the distance. He's trying to abscond with just a slither of health. And a repair pack given to him by Bazzi will keep him in the fight.
I mean, it's the only reason they have to back out there, is you cannot lose your diva, especially that close to self-destruct, especially this part of the map. There's not a lot of spots to hide there towards the end here for the Outlaws once they get into the open.
You can see now, Hangzhou getting a bit antsy. They want to fight. Graviton Surges for Muma. That's the self-destruct. Again, the Transcendence. No result from the self-destruct here. Both teams going for that extra healing from the Zenyatas. Another big shatter! Beautiful from Gushue! Oh, Hangzhou, one after another. Bowling over the Outlaws now. That self-destruct again, just really providing a break in the fight for the Outlaws. A chance to catch a breath. A brief reprieve before they're sent packing once more. Boink. Gets skadooshed straight off the payload. Oh dear, the Outlaws in disarray now. They need to have a response. Raucus just trying to get some of that health back as he sits up in the corner. And Hangzhou will regroup for the time being.
They may be playing around Godspeed, trying to build up a grab here. You're kind of trusting you can build up to Trance a bit faster than the Outlaws. As Dante now gets a grab, you're going to use it right away. This will be the sound barrier that comes out for the Spark.
Oh, you heard that Ryan shield break. That was crucial. Godspeed just burst down, and a Transcendence arguably a little late from BEBE. That means Hangzhou are going to have to go again, Matt.
That's huge for the Outlaws, though. No, they use the sound barrier in the Transcendence, and they don't keep up Godspeed, which is kind of their ultimate that they're playing for. Now you have all three support ultimates here, and you have Shatter. We see a lot of, when the grabs come through, counter Shatters, to prevent the Reinhardt coming in and swinging, doing lots of damage.
Just to give yourself some space, if anything else. Shatter in that case is not designed to win the fight.
It's a huge fight win there for the Outlaws. It really kind of turns the tide in terms of ultimate economy.
BEBE very low in the back there. You can see Raucus just trying to chunk him down. Scon him with an orbital too. 5 ults. Houston Outlaws. And Dante looks very comfortable on his perch there.
They're going to get all 6 here.
And Hangzhou aren't pressuring. They need to start pressuring these ultimates out. So that's why we hear the rally. Muma tries to get around the side. Shatter, nothing doing. Forced to back up again as Hangzhou make a bit of extra progress. But now, still they're going to have to hit their nose to the grindstones. The Transcendence is brought in again by Raucus. Self-destruct up towards the side. Muma, he stays alive. almost falls down the hole, but he's going to hang around for the rest of the fight. You can see Ria's just been caught enough to the right side. Hangzhou trying to rescue here, they might just be feeding themselves to the meat grinder. Gushue charges in though, takes down Jake. Ria's been missing, but movement charges as well. Gushue's getting the work done, and Dante Raucus is sitting off to the side. Again, have to trickle in one by one. They quickly realize they're way behind in this fight. Baby Diva or desuited Raucus not able to get the job done. And Hangzhou get that round finished. They looked like they were going to be much quicker, Matt, but the Outlaws find a bit of that fighting spirit and slow them up. This is going to make this next playthrough on Kings Row much more interesting. See you in a moment. To the medal for these two is a very crucial map is hanging in the balance here. Hangzhou definitely want to even up this series, and if the Outlaws get up to a 2-map lead, it could be signs of them turning their fortunes around. It's not been a great season for them so far.
There are probably a lot of main tank players. You know, there's a lot of matches you get excited for. Playing the Spark's probably not one. When you have Gushue and Nose Smite on the other side, it's like, oh man, you have to deal with both of them. A little bit of a different play style.
You're just going to get pressured. They're going to bear down upon you constantly, and you won't have any room to breathe. That's what Hangzhou are very good at, suffocating enemy tank lines.
Well, let's see if the Spark adjusts here on defense. Playing against this Sombra comp. Is that Dante just working around the outside here, trying to find an angle?
Oh, you see,
Godspeed's
checking. That's like the searchlight. Now he's trying to get out of. Dante's trying to get out of prison here.
A lot of divas will just fire randomly and just try and spot check, right? Diva can just fire unlimited amounts of times. Just great to spot check against these Sombras.
Ria down to half. No burst healing forthcoming, so Hangzhou just need to hope that Houston give him the time to regen.
You can't use the burst heal because, let's say for argument's sake, Dante gets a hack onto Gushue. You need that burst heal to keep the Reinhardt alive.
Yeah, definitely not top of the priority list. It was Ria there. Gushue gets bubbled. He's still low, trying to push forward. The Outlaws, bit of push-pull here, just trying to manipulate the Spark around the point, and they've got that one. Gushue slowly chunked down by the Outlaws, and now they move on to the point. Overtime has begun. On the high ground, Ria just got desuited, and that's bad news for the Spark here. Very unlikely they can really come back, and in fact, Matt, they're not even going to attempt to. Hangzhou are going to take a back seat for now and allow Houston to get this payload out of the garage.
And the Outlaws have another fight win here, Mitch, if they play this right. You have the EMP. Because the Spark are probably going to want to push up. They obviously have a decent amount of time, 2 minutes and 19 seconds, but you still don't want Houston to get a ton of free payload progress.
I mean, Hangzhou have to know what they're walking into here. I guess all they can hope for is, once again, and BEBE's done an excellent job of doing this, is that they can keep their Zenyatta out of that EMP. That's right. Got to sit right back, and that's exactly what he's doing right now, BEBE. Is right at the back. So Dante won't affect him with this one. Gets an EMP. Can the Outlaws get a kill before the trans comes in? You better believe it. Gushue is down. Big Earth Shatter as well. Makes it very hard for Hangzhou to reply back after that EMP was even used. Abilities or no. BEBE down, having done his job in that fight, it wasn't enough.
Well, he does a good job of hiding BEBE and getting the Transcendence off.
Was he too far away?
Maybe a little bit. But if you play towards the front by those cafes, Dante's going to find you. A lot like how he hacked IDK so he couldn't use the sound barrier. Dante's too good of a Sombra to not make that play. He actually goes over to Diva here. This is interesting. Just gives you the opportunity to potentially eat like the Graviton Surge that comes in from Godspeed.
It's a huge momentum killer, right? And it definitely break the spirits. There's some psychological value for bringing Diva in here. Spread would like a Graviton Surge of his own, though, and the Outlaws have done very well accruing some of these ultimates. Briefly stunned, that's the grab. Spree is very charged up now, and here's the Transcendence for the Outlaws. The Spark don't have one quite yet, but Ria still breaks the back. Gets two with that self-destruct. Gushue trying to step back, but Ria really putting his mech on the line for this one. Raucus able to take that one down. Boink, booping. IDK gets in there with a left hook, and that'll be it. Hangzhou hold on. We talk about momentum breakers, just Ria did just that himself.
So really good progress, though, from the Outlaws, considering how much time they had. in the time bank. And you see Dante making a difference on Sombra. Goes over to D.Va there towards the end. To have some of these flex players on your lineup. I think, you know, we didn't really talk a ton about it, but you know, them leaving Jake in. You know, Jake obviously very vocal. I think he provides a ton of, whether it's not calling, just like, you know, a ton of those like minor calls. This is where, this is where we're talking about. Maybe he's a little far here, so it's a long run.
Then obviously you are sped up considerably in that form, but this is the trade-off you have to take in order to stay safe.
But with so much burst damage, though, like with like Reinhardt and Zarya, like with fully charged Zarya, it's like every like inch matters with that like ultimate, like with the Transcendence to be getting that close. So looks like we do have a pause here. So
yeah, I think it's hard to know what the right answer is in cases like that. Like you either get EMP'd or you don't. And the problem is the Transcendence has the same value anyway. You either don't get the Transcendence in that fight. I'd almost rather get EMP because at least you have the Transcendence for the next fight.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, maybe like, obviously Zenyatta really slow. Like there's not an opportunity to make it towards like the high ground, right? Because then you could have jumped out of the window, but then that's also like, you probably wouldn't have made it there in time. And then I think you have to kind of play, if you play up close, you know, in some of those stores and the shops, Dante's going to find you. So there's nowhere else he can really play except being that far back. But then being that far back doesn't help you. So.
This is obviously Rhea in those final moments. They really needed a pressure relief valve, and this was definitely it. Just after Bazzi goes down as well. Sound barrier, notice, didn't quite reach Bazzi. Let me drop this one straight on in. Very high up. Uma swinging. It comes in just under the shield.
Ooh. You can see at the end, he realizes like where it's going to come. He tries to readjust the shield.
But there's a gap between the shield and the ground, right? You still get hit by that self-destruct. So, you know, the problem for Mover was that he was suspended above the ground. So if he held the shield in a neutral position, well, it still wouldn't be enough.
We're back.
Tough to call. Yeah, we are back. How about
like that?
And on the defense here will be the Outlaws. So they do play that Reinhardt-centric comp. Hangzhou, what do we get? We got something spicy, something a bit tutti-fruity, Matt? Maybe some damage dealers? No. No IDK on Hanzo?
No. I think the only thing you potentially could see is if they wanted to run like a Sombra comp, a lot like we saw the Outlaws. I think the Sombra comp's pretty strong in these types of situations because a hack is so big, even if it's not like a huge EMP, just a regular hack, that taking away some abilities from some of these heroes would be massive.
It just gives you an opening. You know, we spend so much time watching these teams of 6 players just look at each other and go, where do we start fighting? And then EMP can be the push you need.
Or a hack. Like, as soon as your Reinhardt gets hacked, you just have to back up. I mean, there's just too much coming in.
Look at Raucus, right in the back corner there. Really doesn't want to make a slip up here. But Hangzhou might not give him a choice. Look at they push into that corner. You know they want to get a piece of that Zenyatta, but they kind of break like waves upon a rock cliff. Bazzi Jake getting himself 2 there. And in Hangzhou, it's not exactly subtle. You can see what they want.
And I think when they try and go aggressive there, they use a speed boost, and they actually bubble Gushwei on the engage. Like, they bubble him right away. And right after the bubble's gone, Boink connects to the boop and just boops him out. And then that's why you see him kind of die like last out of the tanks, because the other tanks go into the corner, and they don't have that Reinhardt with them.
Transcendence imminent for both sides. Raucus will have his one right now. He had a very good fight, just staying alive and getting a lot of work done here. IDK, what does he look for? He doesn't go up to the high ground. I thought he might be trying to, you know, do some cheeky dueling. Patience from the Outlaws here, but Dante and Spree are low. Hangzhou might realize this now. So the Outlaws go straight for this rally to keep them in this fight. Transcendence straight away. Raucus holding on to his. He's not using Transcendence right now, and it's paying off for the Outlaws. They didn't take enough damage to really warrant it. The rally was enough to cover over that deficiency. And here's the EMP. Raucus still holding on to the Transcendence if he needs it later on. Earthshatter. That is a big Earthshatter. 3 people knocked down. Raucus as well, but the sound barrier was there. The Outlaws have everything they need, and even what they don't need. They just hold solid, and Hangzhou have one more chance to take point A.
Oh, and they use the sound barrier there towards the end to try and keep Gushwei alive, but they're not able to do it. Godspeed will have the Graviton Surge coming back in the next fight. You'll have a self-destruct as well. Who's going to be able to get a touch here, though? It probably has to be Rhea.
Over the top, perhaps, around the fence. We'll see them push. So Jake trying to get a quick shield bash there, and 1 second left. Godspeed gets there first. Transcendence is going to catch Dante, but immediately Raucus uses that save. Transcendence. Oh. It's not enough, though! Once again, Rhea breaks in, knocks down the door, and said, I'll have all your valuables at point A. Another 2K, and that is all you need. Guangzhou by themselves, a stay of execution, and a chance to take the map.
So you probably will have Dante getting a grab in the next fight. You'll have Rally here, so things do look good for the Outlaws. They just need to win this Reinhardt battle. They cannot let Gushue hit like some massive shatter and swing the tides in the Spark's favor.
So every bit of your mental bandwidth right now needs to be committed to avoiding a blowout.
I like this from the Outlaws. Play aggressive here. Play up in the choke. You know you have the advantage in terms of ultimates. Don't let the Spark gain some ground and extend this fight. You want to just dump your ults in and win it pretty clean.
Don't worry, Mooma doesn't need to be told twice to flex and get aggressive. Step back. Graviton Surge there, really not catching anyone. Guangzhou, very quick disengage there. Another big shatter. Oh, that hurts. But that hurts even more. Whoever said the first cut is the deepest was wrong. Houston Outlaws, that's 2 maps to 0 in this series. Diva Bomb's definitely deciding a lot of these fights. And Spree, very pleased. The Belgian superstar absolutely deserves accolades for his performance on that particular map. All smiles on the Outlaws here as halftime approaches, and they got plenty of time to think about their next step. Raucous, great job for him staying alive in those last couple of fights. With a triple bomb to finish it. They'll be talking about that one for a while. We'll see you guys on the other side of this break. What a match.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.
Welcome back, everybody, to our halftime show. The Houston Outlaws are up 2-0 on the Guangzhou Spark so far in this game. And I got to say, really unorthodox rotation happening here with the Houston Outlaws. What do you guys think about what we just saw?
Yeah, it was a bit of a game of musical chairs. There was like, you take Zarya and I take Diva. You know what? You go Sombra, and then just switched it all back up. So Jake on Sombra again, and then Dante and Spree just kind of switched back and forth between that Diva and a Zarya to the point where they couldn't really switch back at one point on King's Row. So that, to me, felt like, oh, maybe they have a flexibility problem. Then they switched it back around again, so it was fine. But it was confusing to watch.
I tell you what, though, I'm pleasantly surprised of Houston, honestly, because I had minimal expectations coming into this match when they were playing against Guangzhou. They've turned up. I'm not going to lie, they've turned up.
They turned up for sure. Now, to start off the match, we saw Mooma on Wrecking Ball, and he was wrecking. Literally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Big time. I mean, looking at these stats right here, the guy had 0 deaths to his name. Like, you see this so rarely. He had a perfect game on Busan. Absolutely absurd. They played the DPS composition that they were playing so well. And Guangzhou, they tried to counter it in a way. They were running Sombra, Tracer with a Winston Divas, like a classic dive composition. They were trying to counter it, but it seemed like they had no clue of actually how to counter it. They had in their minds, in theory, they had the right tools, but they were just like, didn't know how to play it. So I would have preferred to them to stick to a more, standard composition, like the triple tank, triple support.
Indeed. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the highlights, starting off with Busan. And right out the gate, we saw a lot of unorthodox picks from the Houston Outlaws. We had Jake playing Sombra.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of just weird picks for these guys.
And you know what? We saw Jake on Sombra before, and he wasn't doing too well. He was actually the bottom of the league when it came to like hero damage and all sorts of stats. But he really stepped it up in this game, landed some great EMPs.
Yeah, it's nice to see Houston coming out of flexibility, for once. And I'm mates with Jake, we hang out every now and then. Like, I'm pleased to see now he's expanding his hero pool. I know the guy's a grafter. Like, he likes to put in time into one hero and get good at it, right? So it's good to see that, Sombra, I think he's going to argue with me later. It's always been a part of his hero pool, but, that's arguable.
Fun fact, during World's Cup, he talked a lot about the Sombra Doomfist.
He talks a lot in general, yeah.
Indeed. But maybe he got some practice on Sombra during that Sombra Doomfist period of time.
I think so. But, and as well, this map into King's Row, honestly, fantastic game coming out from Houston again. They were really, honestly, playing very well, rotating a lot of their ultimates. I have to say as well, was expecting more out of Guangzhou. I don't think they're playing particularly their best Overwatch.
No, their ult timing was a bit
I think we've seen,
questionable at times.
exactly. I think we've seen better Overwatch. For example, when they played against Valiant earlier in the last week, or earlier in the week, I should say, or earlier last week. But I mean, the results are in front of us, man. I mean, Houston are up 2-0 right now at the half. Can they keep it going, though? They've been in this position before. This is my question now, because they were like this. This team struggles to close out series.
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah. What are they going to do this time differently, than before? Because
just don't choke.
Don't choke.
Simple as that. Just don't.
How do you not choke?
I don't know, man.
Just don't do it.
Just don't choke forehead, lol.
No, but we saw. I mean, Spark kind of dropped the ball at the end there, but they had a lot of moments where they looked really strong also in this series. So it wasn't a super one-sided affair, and I just hope that the Houston Outlaws just stay focused and don't loosen up.
Don't choke.
Don't choke. Yeah, what he said.
Simple advice. Listen to me, Houston.
Well, this is truly going to be a test for Hangzhou Spark because I don't think they've been down 0-2 yet, and we get to see how they're going to adjust at halftime. But anyways, guys, thank you very much for the analysis. Guys, we're getting back into the action very soon, so stay tuned. They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
The Houston Outlaws, ladies and gentlemen, started this series in absolute style. 2-0 is the map score. And honestly, that previous map, King's Row, was hard fought, and they still prevailed. Looking good on not just a DPS dealer sort of setup, but also with those tanks and supports.
Yeah, it's quite a nice surprise, I think, for Outlaw fans. I think they were looking at this match after how they played previously, and they were probably worried to death coming in. And I know they make some lineup changes. So right now, I'm looking down at the stage behind me, and you still see Jake on the stage, right? You know, Spree's still in the game. So it's interesting. You know, we saw Linkser in map number 1 when they ran the really DPS heavy
to great
dealing
effect. Seems like he still thrived there.
Yeah, and now Linkser's the one that comes out. It's a little bit of a different lineup here from the Outlaws. They seem to have found something that's working.
Perhaps it could just be the presence Jake has there. Could also be,
vibes.
Role
It's all
specific.
about the vibes.
Here's the substitutions. Revenge comes in. We haven't seen a ton of him so far. I think it was subbed in the prior map briefly. I think map 3 actually might be where we normally see him, obviously in that assault setup. But BEBE comes out. Obviously gave a great account of himself, BEBE, dealing with a constant Sombra pressure. But Hangzhou have more than one look. No Smite back in for Gushue. Again, one superstar main tank for another. Can't complain about that.
Flip a coin. Whichever side it lands on, they go in the game. I mean, both of these guys, fantastic, like we have mentioned throughout the series.
But Matt, they need a map. Hangzhou's Spark need a map. The Outlaws are, well, looking like they couldn't run away with this one.
I don't know why I'm an analyst when you can tell people that the other team needs to win a map.
See that? That one's green, and that one's green as well.
Man,
and it's got the Outlaw sign next to it. So it's bad for Hangzhou.
That's tough. I don't know how you figure that one out.
So you would, okay, so what do you want to see on this map then?
I'm kidding. I think look on Anubis, I think it's interesting that you leave Spree in the game because this is a map where you don't really. I mean, Zarya is good here on Anubis, but really it's like defense, like 0.2. I think that's when you can make a difference. So it's interesting what the Outlaws have here on offense to kick things off. So you have Jake in the game playing Pharah, a hero that very strong out. We've seen him put up some good performances in the past. Dante playing Tracer, then you have Spree playing Sombra. Spree does play some DPS. If you remember last year, there was a fantastic Li Jiang Tower game where he came out on Pharah, really made a big impact. So he does play some DPS. Now some of the damage-dealing heroes go away. They're just going to go... Okay, so they see... What happens here is they come out, they see that there's the Winston on the opposing side here for the Spark. That's when they move right away from damage-dealing centric comp. They go over to the Reinhardt triple tank, triple support.
Again, which in a protracted or like a longer engagement, the Reinhardt's going to win out. There's burst damage potential there. There's just good like sustained damage, and of course the Earthshatter ultimate, which is a fight winner to be sure. So now like No Spy has to respect this. He sits back and says, "Well, look, I can't really get engaged or jump in until I can sort of safely get in and out." See Raucus there just pressuring him and Godsby in that corner, and the Outlaws will get the high ground.
And the Outlaws, they have to go to the high ground because they want to get revenge and IDK off, and they just use the speed boost. They're just going to keep trying to reposition this Zen. They want to keep revenge alive. He gets low.
Yeah, he actually survives that one. It's likely he got the health pack in that side room. The mega health can 200 back pretty much straight away. But in the flurry of chaos, Rhea's mech has been lost, so they're definitely missing a lot of that utility on the side of their Diva. A lot of that dive partner to go with No Smite. Look at Hangzhou's health. No Smite definitely not looking great.
And look at where the Outlaws have forced these healers here for the Spark, as they're all in by that mega health pack, and you can't get any line of sight of your Zenyatta. Your Lucio's not providing light. You got a Transcendence to come out, keep everybody topped up.
The fact that they managed to stay alive until that Transcendence is notable. That's a big deal. No Smite protecting his backline as Winston, which is hard enough in and of itself. But they've done it. So they bought themselves that time. The Outlaws had to step back. But Houston have 2 support ultimates here. They have the Transcendence. They have the Sound Barrier. But they look like they're a little bit unsure about where to start here.
Where are the supports for the Spark going? They're at the Outlaw spawn at this point. As now it's forcing the Spark to use like self-destruct, Graviton Surge, just trying to... Look at this. The supports are trying to get back through the choke. They've used the grab to stop them at the door. What is happening?
And interestingly enough, Boink almost gave his life up to that self-destruct. Had he not had the Sound Barrier, he would have been dead. And that would have been at best a Lucio trade. This is completely wacky stuff we're seeing right now.
Wild.
Spree getting challenged to the high ground, given a bubble. Muma dropping in. And again, Hangzhou, they're really stretched thin here, Matt. Couple of strikers coming in now, but Rhea's removed from the fight. No Smite is low. And in the absence of a Reinhardt shield, Muma gets an easy shatter. And the Outlaws take point A.
And it's a lot of late kills here, and they do have Godsby in a really tough spot. Goes down to 149 HP. Oh, he's going to get caught. They have to go. This is a great opportunity here for the Outlaws, Mitch.
That's the opening. They found it. Now to move on to the point. They still need to dot the I and cross the T. Here comes that self-destruct thrown in. That is going to split No Smite off for the rest of his team. That's him going down now. Raucus finishes the job. Hangzhou not only missing their Zarya early, but lose their Reinhardt not far into the fight. Off to the side was Godspeed trying to make his way in. He had himself the Graviton Surge. Bazzy is run down, now the Transcendence being used, and the Outlaws still looking hale and healthy and hardy as they continue their fight. 4 minutes and 30 seconds left, but they back up. The Transcendence is enough to make them respect it. But as soon as they step back, they're back into the fray. No Smite dropping once more, and Hangzhou now need to be very careful how they stagger this one out. Houston have 91% of the capture progress here, and now they're hunting down those targets as they split off.
And the Spark are just trying to cycle onto the point here, just trying to keep it going for as long as possible. You have IDK just jumping up on the walls as Lucio. Bazzy now falls there as No Smite trying to make it back. He does not make it in time.
Real quick stuff there from the Houston Outlaws. Great at identifying holes in Hangzhou's setup. That's what they need to do. Punish for those particular mistakes. They have to be feeling pretty good. They're buoyed on by that momentum going to the second half, but they need to show up on defense as well as they did on offense. And we'll see how this one concludes after the break. Hangzhou defense not found. That's the time the Houston Outlaws actually have on from the attacking side here, Matt. And I mean, how do you describe to someone who didn't see that first half how it went?
So what happened there for the Spark is, you know, they're sitting up on the high ground. You know, when you move through the choke on Anubis, just imagine you're playing on offense, right? You move through the choke, and the supports for the Spark are up on the top right. The Outlaws recognize that. They decide to push up the spares with a speed boost and push them down from the top right. The Spark, they use their speed boost and they move down onto the bridge and back by their mega health pack. And the Outlaws, they end up pushing through there. And the Spark, they have nowhere else to go with this speed boost. And they try and go all the way around to the Outlaws spawn and they get caught out.
Well, Matt, they've seen the Reinhardt here from the Outlaws. Hangzhou want to play some DPS. Revenge on the Soldier 76, which is just not a pick we see much at all. Talk to me about this.
It's kind of like your rock, paper, scissors, so to speak. And you know, Soldier 76 here, if you're like a flex support, I mean, if you're really anybody who plays Overwatch, he's just kind of like a staple. Like, everybody knows how to play a solid Soldier 76. He's never really fantastic in a comp. He's never really, like, bad in a composition. So I think you bring in the Soldier 76, good mobility here, can put down constant damage.
Point, no, too far!
Yeah, I think, though, the Outlaws, they know they're in a really tough spot here against all these DPS. It's like, well, look at Muma. Like, where does he even look?
Up, down, left, right, everywhere he can. Unfortunately, even if he used the shield as a parasol, the damage would still find a way to him. So Revenge actually gets some work done on the Soldier 76. The Outlaws, I mean, I guess you kind of want to play together with your Reinhardt, but against what Hangzhou were bringing, that's a death sentence.
And do you stay on this if you're the Spark? You know, you're getting close to Valkyrie and Barrage. They probably do to at least try and play around, you know, maybe this EMP that Bazzy's farming up here, so...
Is Revenge going to show us some perfect tracking?
I tell you what, you know, we don't talk about it often because we don't see it. EMP plus attack by, so it's pretty devastating as well. You get the Mercy damage boost in there.
Revenge, always thinking about it. Hangzhou have not switched up their comp here. And the Outlaws are split on the point, by the way. They're split pretty much straight down the middle, purely because of Godspeed's pressure. And here comes the Hammond. Oh dear, Boy just gets completely chunked out there by Godspeed. And here it is, the Tactical Visor. Revenge getting work done. Spree falling. And now he can just sit inside that biotic field and be pretty safe as he applies constant, consistent pressure to Muma, who just has to hop, skip, and jump backwards. Jake trying to face the music as he comes out of the doorway, but he's met by a barrage of projectiles, bullets, and other harmful things. The Transcendence was very timely for the Outlaws. Oh, it takes some weight off their shoulders, and it gets Hangzhou off their front lawn.
Yeah, no Smite there. He tries to just roll into them as Wrecking Ball, just trying to knock them back because they know how close they were to potentially taking that. The Spark, they'll go all the way back to the spawn. As some of the remaining members, I know, in the hero select screen, they'll switch things up. Of the Reinhardt version of the 3-3, an exact mirror on the side of the Outlaws.
Respect for the comp, at least. Obviously, Muma will be far closer to his Earth Shatter. In fact, it's going to be 5%. And Hangzhou again want to try and find a way in, or find at least a way to exploit Houston's positioning. Are they split? Is there anyone that's not standing with the rest of the team? How can we use our speed boost gainfully? So far, it just means getting through the catacombs and setting up close to the point. And they're going to butt heads for a little bit again. War of attrition will be the name of the game.
And No Smite just keeps going around the corner here and not putting the shield up right away. Because you can't come around here with the shield up, you'll just take so much damage that Muma's going to win the shield war no matter what. I mean, see, now that they push onto the point, they feel like they have a little bit of advantage in terms of shield. You see Muma when he puts it up, looks like it's going to crack.
I mean, Hangzhou don't mind taking a little bit of damage if it's something that their healers can remedy and get themselves some ultimate percentage. Oh! The Earth Shatter! It was looking good. No Smite was knocked out of the way, and Muma makes sure he commits to finding that kill. And Hangzhou, having just switched to this composition, don't have the tools or really the answers to stop Houston doing this, so they have to accept it. Rhea, very cheeky, just snuck out through the little crack that was left for him. But he's not going to get back to spawn. The Outlaws are adamant. Oh no! This staggers him out so much. Rhea's the sell on the point. He can't get away. This is filthy. Hangzhou almost back, by the way, so Rhea needs to be dispatched off now.
And he doesn't want to demech. I mean, he doesn't want to remech because he gets back in the mech, they'll just demech him again. No Smite. Nothing he can do. He backs up.
But you know what that does? That stagger allows the Outlaws to get a second fight win. And Muma almost has another shatter. See, normally the stagger just means that the enemy team has to wait longer, but in that case, Outlaws actually get kills and ult present as a response.
I mean, you can use Dante's grab to build shatter here, as well as by the way, Godsby, he's held on to his energy because he hasn't died. In the big fight where the spark, everybody had dropped as soon as they switched over this comp. He backed all the way out. So you see, he's still sitting pretty at like 80%.
I mean, he's very happy with that. And with both of his barriers off cooldown now, being at 70. He's going to be well charged up in this fight. But again, he won't be the only one with the Graviton Surge.
You see the discipline there from the Outlaws. As soon as he pops his own personal bubble, all incoming damage just stops immediately.
It's a good look for them. The Outlaws are ahead in time bank now, but that's the rally. That's the starter's pistol, the go signal, the green light. Hangzhou push forward now. Remember trying to get around the backside with an Earth Shatter, with the Transcendence making it hard for any damage to stick after the fact. Good response from the Outlaws though. Raucous, almost like clockwork. No pun intended. Bringing that one to bear. They're off the point though. The Outlaws got grabbed away from the point. They still lead by about a minute and a half in terms of the time bank. They're probably a little bit annoyed that they didn't really lose the fight in its entirety. They just got dragged off. We have a couple more playthroughs here on Temple of Anubis, so don't go too far. Eventually prevail after multiple fruitless attempts at capturing point B. Eventually they come up with the answer. It's just grab the Outlaws off the point.
And I'm kind of shocked to see the Outlaws come out here on defense with the Reinhardt setup again. Because I think as soon as the Sparks see this, they're gonna just run a ton of DPS. So I think right now what they'll probably do, or they'll probably have Bazzi coming out of the spawn check. Maybe you'll see some other changes. Maybe this will be kind of like a different variation they'll decide to run with. As this would be 2-2-2. 2 tanks, 2 supports, 2 damage dealers. Let's see. They get a view, and now you have players come back to the spawn. So
that would have been quite novel to see a 2-2-2 comp. Okay, so they will go with a similar approach as before.
It's the same thing.
And the Outlaws again. I mean, they probably should expect this. In all fairness, given the attackers can sort of just scout them, change their comp. How do they play around this Reinhardt?
And we talked about all day, like this is usually why you see the Winston version of Victory on defense.
History is literally repeating itself, Mike! Did you see the same thing? Gods just hits him with a very slick air shot.
I mean, to be in Boyce's defense, how do you pressure the opposing team's Widowmaker?
Okay,
you can't just send the Diva up
there. But Matt, they're playing the same comp that they did before.
Yeah.
It's identical. Were they not expecting Hangzhou to go for the same setup here?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not. Maybe they expected them to go with a more tank-heavy setup. Nice
return from Boink there, though. Finding Bazzi here. Spree desuited. Wow, Soldier 76 getting some work done there inside that Bardic field, but we chase down a little bit. Jake falling does mean that there's a player down here on the Houston Outlaws, and Revenge can return to his perch and pressure down without having to worry about the brick. Boink just walks into this one. Revenge is... I mean, we don't often get to see Soldier 76 set up on this perch play like this, and Revenge is also just having a Discord orb thrown on him, saying, that's fine, I'll back away, I'll let Godspeed continue to do the work, because this Farah is tearing the Outlaws apart.
And that's exactly why you need the Winston, because with all the damage coming down from the high ground, there's no way for the Outlaws to get up there. There's no... I mean, that's why you see Boink just kind of playing like a madman, riding on the walls. It's like their only source of like displacement for players up on the high ground.
Yeah, I refuse to believe that like Houston didn't think Hangzhou would play something like that again. I'd love to know sort of what the idea is with the setup around the Ryan Howard. Unfortunately, for the second time, it doesn't work, but they last a little bit longer on a point now, and Hangzhou have 1 minute and 13 seconds to pressure B. That's a rally from Jake, keeping the morale up in and out of game.
They know so much damage is about to come through. You know, the EMP, Valkyrie, Minefield, Rocket Barrage.
There it is. That's the EMP. Only getting Raucous, though, and Raucous survives it and still has Transcendence. Revenge now, this is what normally happens to a Soldier 76 when there's a bunch of shields in the game. He doesn't do anything.
They probably could have got a better EMP than that. I mean, you could have just hacked Raucous and then dived in.
Right.
And got them to invest probably Barrier, and then came back and just... Then if you wanted to solo EMP Raucous, that's fine, because there's no other support.
I mean, Matt, that was probably the scariest thing for the Outlaws, that EMP and the potential to have them broken down. Now, they're probably feeling pretty good.
Oh, they feel great. I mean, look, everybody resetting their ultimates here for the Spark. Everybody making a hero change. The Outlaws have everything here. I mean, this is their fight to lose.
First fight at point A, not going great for the Outlaws, but they have the staying power here on point B, and that really is all that matters at the end of the day. 6 seconds left, and Hangzhou have to find something. They'll have no ultimates, Matt. They were forced to change their comp, so they have to do it the old-fashioned way. No Smite is knocked down, but the rest of the Spark have to come forward and deliver, and it's an Earth Shatter. No Smite falling off the bridge. That was the death knell. And now this is the eulogy being spoken for the Hangzhou in this map. And again, they needed this one big time, but the Outlaws say no. Oh, man. Actually brutal. The Outlaws now in a position just to, be 3-0 in the series.
So, you know, the last time we did see Spark on the defense, it was really like positional errors, which ended up costing them, and we were joking a little bit about it with how the supports were just kind of running around one side to the other.
The rotations were weird.
Yeah, they ended up in a really bad spot, where I think if they don't end up sending the supports, you know, out the way you're going to see here in a second. So we can watch it from this. So this is the view that I'm watching it from. Look at where the Lucio and the Brig are.
They got booped
That
up by
is the
Spree.
offensive side, and they are on defense. And then this is where you're going to see they're
Jake is lucky toing them.
Yeah. Well, no, it was like they were trying to trap them in there, and then at one point they just decided, the Outlaws, like, okay, well, let's just not let them out towards the bridge and just give them the other way. Maybe they could have made it out if they would have pushed the tanks up to the choke, which they kind of did, but to go all the way through the other side of the choke, you're asking a lot, man.
Sometimes you just have to look up and ask yourself, how did I get here?
That was like if you've ever played competitive with Sideshow, he goes on these odds and yada.
Oh no, he knows how we got there.
Yeah.
He took a train ticket to get there.
But it was one of those where you use the Transcendence to get out of the other team's spawn.
He took his visa to get behind the enemy team on his own. Don't you worry.
So they'll have the Winston on defense here. So, the Outlaws still going to run. All right, never mind. They're going to go back as soon as they see Winston. They're going to change off of that. Movement not going to play Torb as he'll go over to Reinhardt. So as soon as they see Winston, they move off of the damage dealers. They go with the tanks.
Big advantage for attackers here. They kind of get to pick and choose their composition based on that info. The scouting. Knowledge is power. No Smite would disagree, saying that Tesla Cannon is power.
Okay, so the Spark supports are going to go into the same spot that they went to the previous time. They're up on the high ground now. Let's see how they decide to rotate this time. It cannot be the same way as we have just seen.
Revenge just got smashed across the map and had to get a repair pack there. That's why he had armor at all.
The Outlaws recognize it again. You see their outlines on the screen. They're going to go up this is when you... Okay, so this is a little bit different. No Smite was not playing up here last time.
Ooh.
They hear the Winston jump across, and they're going to go down to the point.
This is intentional. They are splitting Moomer off intentionally to try and draw some attention down. It doesn't really work.
They're trying to bait somebody onto the point.
Well, Spree looked like he was trying to knock the Zarya down from the high ground, and then the Outlaws could sort of leap upon it. But here you go.
They commit to going up top. Here's the support rotation. The Outlaws now will round around the back. And the Outlaws are going to try and force the same thing they did last time.
This is what they wanted.
In the Spark, go for it.
Yep. They're going to get 3 supports, all caught off on their own. The Outlaws now just doubling back and dealing with them. Oh, God. Yeah, they're not going to make it to Mordor, sorry. IDK is down and Bazzi is caught out. That was fascinating, Matt, to walk through those rotations. The Outlaws got exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, they forced the exact movement they were trying to get out of the Spark. The only thing the Spark could have done differently is instead of speed boosting all the way around, maybe trying to fake it, have the tanks come back up onto the bridge, and then take the fight there. You're probably better off doing that than taking the fight where you did. You will have no Smite touch the point. He's gonna... Oh, he dies just as he gets Primal and not able to pop that ult.
Hunter needed that one so badly. Now it's the Transcendence that they need. But he's not there. Revenge is still so far away. Walkers has one of his own, though. And the point A take is complete. The Outlaws now, their goal is clear. 1/3 of the capture on point B will give them the map and the series, and they're not stopping for anyone. Now, Hangzhou have a lot of ultimates here to hold them up. No Smite, though, almost gets caught out. That Transcendence was very timely. It's just as well Revenge didn't use it in the prior fight. Sound barrier from the Outlaws, though, just to pad them out against this setup. Oh, the self-destruct. Moomer definitely avoids it. Charging there. Bazzi goes down. RDK missing as well. The Houston Outlaws looking for their first win in the 2019 season of the Overwatch League. And they may well have it. Revenge is down. Rhea just going to get fire struck. And there you have it. Vindication for the Houston Outlaws. Looking poorly adjusted early on. Now get that first win in week 2. All by catching us. Nicely done. And again, thumbs up here. There you go. Still another map to come in this series. The Outlaws have got what they came for, though. And the rest is the cherry on top.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Three maps in the bag. One more up for grabs here for the Houston Outlaws. So interesting setups in general, Matt, across both teams that we saw on Temple of Anubis. Curiously as well, when we talk a little bit about Houston's defensive setup, they're playing the Reinhardt. It's a composition they know is probably going to be weak into this damage dealer heavy comp that we saw Hangzhou bring, but if they can keep that composition onto the second point, maybe they're looking for just to stop or to grind out Hangzhou.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good point that Mitch brought up during the break when we were just chatting about the match. It's like the Houston comes out with the Reinhardt on defense, which allows the Spark to play a lot of those damage-dealing heroes. And once the Spark take point A, they don't switch right away. They hold on, they want to use some of those ultimates. The Outlaws, with the way that point B is kind of constructed, can play really close together, maybe invest 1 or 2 support ultimates. And then at that time, the Spark switch. At that point, you may as well just stay on it with like 30 seconds left.
Which is what they
switch
did
everybody.
The time before that.
Yeah, they switch everybody, and then the Outlaws have a huge ultimate advantage. And there's no way you're going to win Reinhardt 3 tank 3 support versus Reinhardt 3 tank 3 support with 0 ultimates versus like 4.
And we saw it, like the first time the Hangzhou were on the attacking side, they did stay on that composition and they did use the ultimate. So they tried the EMP, didn't really hit anyone. The tactical visor didn't have a huge impact. So, I understand why they want to switch up there, but with so little time left, it is possible to say that Houston were just trying to hold out for the point B fight and giving up the point A fight, knowing they stick to the comp. So that is reasonable to suggest, and it worked for them.
And what a turnaround this would be for the Outlaws if they get the 4-0 here. So Revenge goes out, maybe it comes in. But if the Outlaws get a 4-0 here, I mean, this is a Spark team who, if they would have won this match, was looking at the top of the league tie with NYXL, but was at 3-0. And potential on map differential, what would have happened in this series, they could have been number 1.
Well, basically,
and they come in here and they have the potential to get 4-0'd by the Outlaws.
Like, how do I show someone a ladder after, sort of week 2 and go, this is where we're at right now? Because we see a lot of situations where teams, are being felled by opponents that otherwise probably shouldn't really get the better of them if you want to look at the transitive property.
A lot of the times, though, as you see so far, we've been in this series, Dorado will be the final map. When teams have kind of gone 50-50 against other teams, it's really been like, strong 3 tank triple support versus strong 3 tank 3 supports. And they've just kind of gone head-to-head and exchanged fights, and maybe one fight or the other changes it. I think for Houston today, it's really been like this little bit of a lineup of adjustment. Spree still in the game. We obviously just played the sub just for the Spark. Spree still in the game, and Jake still in the game. So they've trusted those guys to play a lot of the series here alongside Dante, Mumo, Raucus, and Boink, who we really haven't seen come out for the Outlaws. And I think that's been the real difference maker today.
Lynx are dominant, obviously, on control, but the Outlaws won't be playing that kind of map type again in this series. It won't be a map 5. The W's already been secured. Now it's about that map differential, which, by the way, they definitely do need some of. It's going to help them a lot, especially losing a couple game 5s here means that map differential isn't too bad even after a couple losses. So this can definitely put them back up into the black, so to speak.
They may play Farah here. As soon as the Outlaws see this, let's see what they decide to do. The Outlaws come out here with Winston. As soon as they see Ryan, does everybody go back to the spawn?
Yep.
Everybody back in the spawn. So let's see what they decide to do.
Hangzhou, surely they don't hold as far forward now if they're expecting a composition switch. We'll see. A lot of theory crafting here.
Yeah. Okay, so they have to not go with DPS here. They're going to go with a Reinhardt comp of their own.
Definitely a discussion was happening there in the Houston think tank.
You could go either way, right? I mean, it doesn't really matter. You can decide to go with the Reinhardt-based composition, or you can go some DPS. Like a Farah here catching him out in the choke would be pretty crazy. Same with, like, let's say for argument's sake, Dante went over and played as Sombra right now. You get a hack onto IDK, they can't speed boost out, you get a good engage. That's a first fight win. But they do stay with the Reinhardt version of the triple support here, at least at the beginning.
This setup for Hangzhou isn't just because they have nothing to lose necessarily. I mean, it gives them another fight. Yes, the payload will probably get through that first choke if Hangzhou were to be felled here. But they can do so much work. They play close against the Outlaws. They pressure Moomer in just this kind of way. No Smite gets to swing freely, and then Jake's picked up. Big shatter! Bazzi is charged in, but Dante will fall here, and Hangzhou need to play aggressive. If they hesitate for one moment, they're going to lose the fight.
If you're the Spark, you probably, even if you lose this first fight, because you're playing so aggressive, you probably get 3 fights. They're backing up here now because they want to speed boost Bazzi back into the fight. So close to rally, you need that Brigitte there, and this will allow the Outlaws to get some payload progress.
Sure, they can still play this underpass choke point. They don't actually have to give that up here. So I quite like that. Graviton Surge. Transcendence is there for them. They have a lot to work with. Again, you see they're playing this corner. I don't want to get someone getting their head smashed in by Raucus and a volley of orbs or something like that. Godspeed notices Boink is set up on his own. Immediately Hangzhou realized that there's a rotation going from the Outlaws up to the high ground, which is nothing too out of the ordinary. Here's the rallies though from both sides. It is go time. Godsby trying to sit back as much as he possibly can. Movement went for that Earth Shatter. Comes out with nothing.
And Godsby pushes in, he puts down a ton of damage, but he's also trying to get them to use all of their defense matrix. You want to make sure you get a good Graviton Surge here.
Raucous holding on to the Transcendence, but he might have a chance to use it. He gets Earth Shatter before he can go for it. And the Outlaws thinking they're making the big brain play, holding on to that Transcendence for later in the fight. No chance, no smite hits a big Shatter to shut that idea down immediately.
Yeah, and it's just a game, right, between Godsby with the Graviton Surge and Raucous with the Transcendence. You want one for the other. It's almost like that, the kind of game of chicken we used to see where it was like Lucio's trying to, wait to use Sound Barrier after an EMP came off. Same exact thing. You need that Transcendence of Raucous to get through the damage that's going to come down once Godsby drops his Graviton Surge.
In that sense, not so terrible that he had it saved or didn't have a chance to use it, whichever one is correct. Graviton Surge here. Spree just dropping that one on the corner. It gets no smite. Good setup by Mumu though, just to make sure that there was no way Hangzhou were escaping from that combo. And Andante nice and charged up. No reason for him not to go looking for stragglers. If he sees Zenyatta, he can burst him down. But this should allow Houston to take this checkpoint.
The Spark may be able to get back for... Nope, they're going to give it up. Actually, they may try and fight this.
Yeah, they're
going to go through quick. Yeah, they're going to try and fight it. They're going to get one more fight here. So Rhea has to touch and he gets demech because of it. They're going to use a Sound Barrier here as well. They want to prevent the Outlaws from taking first point. Only 20 seconds to go.
Earth Shatter, no smite, BEBE. Bazzi all down. Very important targets. Mumu really connects with that one. And Spree eats up Godsby's Graviton. Man, Hangzhou having all their options taken away from him. Remember that Transcendence that Raucous saved? Well, yeah, now he gets to use it. Thing is, BEBE had his back up at the same time, and now the Hangzhou Sparks start to push back a little more. Dante bowled over. BEBE in a safe position here. Spree's only just noticed that he's still alive, and BEBE has that rally armor, so he's going to be sticking around for a long time. No smite, unperturbed by the self-destruct dropping down in Spree. That Sound Barrier lasted scant seconds before it was torn from him, but it's ravenous Hangzhou squad. Earth Shatter to secure. Spree was already dead though. And Hangzhou gets set up on the payload now and push back. Well, Houston, I mean, Mumu doesn't look too disappointed. You're not going to be sad here, but they probably want a little bit more on that attacking side. Map differential is a thing. But Hangzhou looked like they were in shape there. Shame it took them too long. We'll be back after the break. See how Dorado ends up. Well, when there's pride on the line, it seems at least that's enough for Hangzhou to rise to the occasion. Staunch defense, they played very far forward on that defensive half and made it impossible for Houston to really make any significant process, Matthew, let alone that first checkpoint.
Yeah, where was that spark? The first 3 games. I think the lineup change for the Outlaws may have caught them off guard, and they didn't expect the Outlaws to come out and field a lineup that could play a lot of these damage-dealing heavy compositions. I think the Sombra of Dante early on in the series made an impact. When they roll out at the beginning, I think it kind of tells from map number 1. When the Outlaws roll out with all 3 of their damage dealers in the lineup, the Spark didn't really expect the Outlaws to kind of play them at their own game and play like these wacky comps, and they got caught off guard.
So, Houston already, oh my lord, Bazzi.
That's not
picks
ideal.
Raucous off. This is why we actually see some teams like go for that Widowmaker just for that start push, and it works out. They actually all picked a bunch of DPS heroes just in case there was more damage to be done. Suffice to say, the Outlaws are backpedaling.
Yeah, but this pick is so big because look at how much free cart progress the Spark are going to get. And just think back about 2 minutes ago, how long it took the Outlaws to get to this point. Like, the Spark are going to have a very long time as compared to the Outlaws to get to that golden box of victory.
Love that we're bringing that name back. Mumu charging forward. Rhea was hit. No smite also removed from the action. Bazzi's able to get in there, and No Smite's hanging out. He's going to stay alive here. That Orb of Discord on him didn't really have enough follow-up, and the Outlaws have lost 3 unanswered kills so far on this half. And it doesn't look like things are slowing down anymore. And Hangzhou Spark here get themselves a consolation map in this series. But much is to be said right now about the balance of power in this league. Hangzhou, we're looking, like you said, Matt, it's like a top 2 team. But the Outlaws come out, big wrinkly brains on display, and completely outdo them.
I mean, if you just turned in for that last map, you'd be confused why the Outlaws are getting up. Anyway, they won. I mean, the Spark looked great. But the Outlaws, I mean, throughout the series, so I mean, they get the job done. This was obviously a must-win game for them. I think they came in and they treated it as that. And they come out with a very impressive 3-1 win against the Spark, who we kind of had towards the higher end of the league at this point.
Absolutely. I spoke to Flame earlier today. He said, I'm really happy with how our triple tank, triple support is going. And it showed. I think Houston showed that they were reactive. They were able to disengage when they needed to. Just definitely more cognitive kind of Overwatch going on, which they can definitely be pleased about. I think that's definitely something to take back going into next week. But now let's throw down to the floor with Mika and someone who needs very little introduction.
I guess both are a camera. You're right, we need very little introduction, but we have Jake here from the Houston Outlaws. Everybody give it up for Jake. All right, Jake, so everybody has been kind of, hyping up the team that you just went up against. Everybody's been pretty scared, so how did you keep a level head going into this matchup?
I think in this past week, we've just been so focused on our own gameplay and just totally, every fight, we're always talking about what's our strategy and how are we going to play to our effective plays. I think this is a meta where really any team can win. It's just about who plays better on the day of. So for us, it's just a matter of managing emotions and staying calm and playing how we practice.
Absolutely, and you've been staying super calm. Also on the Brigitte, we've been seeing you a lot more, especially today. So can we see you kind of settling into that role as the meta continues on before, it changes eventually?
I mean, we'll see. We have a really diverse roster, and I think part of what makes us such a strong team is that we're not really reliant on treating some players as subs and other players as starters. I think we're always ready to put in the player who makes the most sense for maybe it's our strategy, maybe it's the meta, maybe it's the team we're going up against. So I think what's going to make us strong is that we're unpredictable. We can always put different players in for different strategies.
I love that answer. That was such a high-level answer. Well, thank you, Jake, and thank you to the Outlaws, and thank you to the casters who we're going to send it back to.
Now, when a player starts an interview with, is this my camera? He's going to have some very well-measured words for you. Great to hear from Jake. It's been an insane day. We've had history made. We've had some huge upsets. Just incredible Overwatch in general. Chaos has ensued, Matt. We've laughed, we've cried, literally in some cases. But we're happy and we're loving the game. Guys, Watchpoint Post Show is coming up right after this. That's where we're going to get our big brains on the desk to break it down. From myself, Mitch Leslie, from Matt Murillo. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you soon.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered. And by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right.